Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates for only like $5 a month. Also, check out the new third wave of the third wave merchandise, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So right now I'm feeling pretty bullish, and I'm gonna say why very soon. First, let's start with the short-term, targets, and let's talk about what happened yesterday. I gave you a support zone, which I talked about, even in the video and even on the Discord server. And as you can see, we got a reaction to the 50% level, which is good. The ABC down could already be in, and right now we should start working on the fifth wave. Now I changed the target for it because, the fourth wave move down went lower, and right now the target for the fifth wave, if the fourth wave move down does not go any lower, is currently at 91.4 cents, which is the 1.414 extension, and well, of course it could overextend maybe to the 1618, but probably not to the 200% extension, so I think it's gonna top in this region. Now this is the fifth wave of the third wave right here, which is the third wave of this much bigger 1-2 setup, and well, we already got above the 1618 of that extension, so I think in this region we are already above the 200% extension. I don't have it on the chart, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, we already got the minimum target, and right now we only need to complete the last wave of that third wave move up, and then we need to go down in a fourth wave move. Obviously I'm gonna give you a target for this, but I will only give you a target after we get, a top in the fifth wave right here. Now expect the target zone for the fourth wave down to be somewhere between, let's say, 80 cents and maybe 70 cents. And yeah, I'm expecting Cardano to get higher prices, but obviously you can expect some resistance right now because we are still below the 200-day moving average, and getting above it is going to be very important. We did manage to get above it right here in this 1-2 setup, but then it got invalidated and that gave us another low. So while I still believe that getting another low is possible, I don't really see it happening, but that's just my opinion because that would turn this 1, 2, 3, 4 setup into a diagonal. Now in the wick right here, we actually got to the first wave, let's say price, and well, you could say that this is enough for a diagonal. However, this was only a fast wick, and I'm not gonna count it as a diagonal because I don't really want to, and I don't think that's enough to count it, the setup as a diagonal. But if we go lower and if we drop below this low right here, then it's gonna turn into a diagonal. And someone on the Discord server asked me why I do not trust diagonals, and just because I don't, each time we got a diagonal on the chart in the previous couple of years, it did not turn out to be a great thing. And I'm not gonna show you an example because honestly I cannot remember one, but after that we still got another low, or at least we went down. So that's why I don't really like diagonals. And well, right now it's not a diagonal, but getting to the 0.618 would turn into one, so let's be careful with that. Now even if we do that, it's still gonna be okay because the target for the fifth wave will stay the exact same. But if we drop lower, we have to react to the 618, because if we do not, we're gonna have another support level that's gonna be the 0.786, but then getting below that, it's gonna be pretty bearish. And well, even if that happens, even if the worst case that can happen right now happens, it's still gonna be okay because the cross on the bull market support band will happen faster, because the red line right here will actually start going down and the green line will just go sideways, and that's gonna give us a cross. And as you know from the past, each time we get a cross on the Cardano chart, that usually, leads to a big pump. So that's what we need to know about the price right here. Now, I also want to talk about the RSI for a second. As you can see on the 4-hour, we are still below the moving average, which, there is some resistance here. We got rejected the moving average multiple times. And honestly, the setup that we have right now looks pretty similar to what we had right here. We are in a similar looking downtrend, and here, we only had a pump after we got above the moving average right here and after we retested it. And the setup also looks exactly like what Cardano did, I believe, on the weekly chart in November. So it's the exact same setup. As you can see here, we were below the moving average for multiple weeks, then we got above it, we retested it, and that gave us this pump. And right now on the short-term chart, we did the exact same thing again, which leads me to believe that at some point we're gonna have a reaction to the, moving average here if we get to it. I mean, we already had a reaction, I'm sorry. And I think that at some point we will get back above it, we will retest it, and I think that's going to give us another pump, which should put us at 91 cents, at least 91.4 cents, I'm sorry. However, there is another possibility on the chart, and I don't know if I talked about this already in my previous video, but I think I mentioned it on the Discord server. We have a trend line right here on the RSI, so we could theoretically drop to it. Now, I do have to mention, yesterday when we actually had this drop, the RSI got exactly to the trend line, but we did not close there, so that's why you cannot see it. So we did theoretically have a reaction to it, but like I said, you cannot see it because we, closed above it, and because we, got a short-term pump after that, which put us at a higher RSI. But yeah, I mean, I think the low is in. That's just my opinion, and obviously until we get 5 waves up, I cannot confirm that the low is in. And also we did get 5 waves up right here, and that still did not confirm that the low was in because we never broke above the high right here. So what we need to do first is break above this high, which is at 84.2 cents, and then we can look for higher prices. So that's it about the short term. Now I also want to talk about Bitcoin dominance for a second because I just updated the chart today, and I talked about this on the Discord server as well. But right now we have a support zone for the Bitcoin dominance chart, and also you can compare what's going to happen right now, or what could happen right now, to what happened in the previous cycle. I gave you a support zone for what happened here as well. As you can see, in the previous cycle, Bitcoin dominance actually broke below the 0.786 support level of this low right here and the all-time high, or the cycle high. And well, I don't know if in this cycle we'll do the exact same thing. However, it is possible that we do it because we have this trend line on the chart. And I don't know if you can read what it says over here, but the first low, this was in January of 2018. The second low, if you take this as the low and not what happened a couple of months later, it was in January of 2022, which leads me to believe that the next low could actually be in January of 2026. Now, of course, we could get another low, after that, like we got over here. This was in September of 2022. However, I am expecting Bitcoin dominance to be very close to bottoming by January of 2026. And well, that's, only gonna happen if we start going down right now. And I mean, of course, could we, bottom in February or in March, because in this cycle the altcoin season started a bit later? Well, obviously, but right now my target is for Bitcoin dominance to get to about 43% or even below that, maybe around 41%. To test the trend line right here. And if we do test it, and if we actually do bottom in January of 2026, we would have to drop to, let's see, let me actually, go to January. So we would have to drop to about 41% dominance just to test the trend line. And are we going to do that? Well, probably. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I think Bitcoin dominance is close to topping it. If it has not already topped, like I said, what we need to do right now is break below the bull market support band and the 200-day moving average. And then I also said something about this low right here, but I changed my mind a bit. I'm not going to talk about this low anymore. I'm going to talk instead about the 0.236 support level. So if we drop below 57.8%, I'm going to go ahead and say that the altcoin season might have started. But you have to keep in mind, I will only give you a confirmation that it has started once we break below this low. So yeah, nothing really changed, but we have a new chart and we have support levels. So, I mean, these support levels are not here to tell you that, Bitcoin dominance is going to bounce there. They're only going to tell you that, hey, Bitcoin dominance could actually find some support here and here and here and here. And I mean, that does not mean that it's not going to keep going down, but it's going to be a bit more difficult to get to these levels. So that's what you need to know about this. Now, before I talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, I want to mention the S&P 500. And I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. I think I actually started talking about it when we were down here. And I told you that we got to the oversold territory on the weekly chart. And I mean, I even showed you what happened in the previous 50 years. Each time we got to the oversold territory. And well, each each time we got to that level, we got a huge pump, and right now we're doing the exact same thing. As you can see, we even got above the bull market support band, so this pretty much shows us that, you know, the bull market is not over like the, you know, popular YouTubers wanted to believe, and we are still in a normal bull market. It's about to get a cross on the bull market support band as well. Now, why is the S&P 500 important? Well, because, I mean, when this, you know, goes up, Bitcoin goes up as well. So if this continues going up, then obviously Bitcoin will continue going up as well. So, I mean, so far, everything I have said in this cycle turned out to be pretty correct in my opinion, except for Bitcoin dominance and except for, you know, Ethereum getting another low over here. But I mean, when I look at the bigger picture, I mean, so far we are doing pretty good. Now, I also want to talk about Ethereum for a second, and yes, I will talk about Bitcoin as well. Ethereum right now, the next target for it is the fifth wave up, which is at $6,400. That's the minimum target for the fifth wave. It could obviously overextend to about $8,000. And yeah, that's what you need to know about this. I think we're gonna get above the 200-day moving average soon. So this is bullish. Now going to the Bitcoin chart, I mean, the target for this, for the fifth wave of the third wave is, let's see, between $126,000 and $157,000. And I think we're gonna get there in the next couple of weeks. Now, I'm still not sure if the summer drop will happen or not. I have no idea, and honestly, nobody does. So right now, what we need to hope for is that the market keeps going up throughout the summer. And keep in mind, the summer drop does not have to happen exactly when it happened in 2017. I mean, if you can remember what I said that the summer drop in 2017 actually started in the second week of June. And I mentioned this, and obviously I don't want to change my predictions because then, you know, people will call me out for it. But if we did that in 2017, it does not mean that we will do the exact same thing in this cycle as well. I mean, maybe in this cycle we start dropping, you know, in the middle of July or in the middle of August. So I have no idea. I'm just, you know, looking at the data and I'm telling you what could happen. And what could happen right now is Bitcoin could theoretically continue going up for another couple of months before we actually get any type of correction. And I mean, that's only based on what happened, you know, in these setups right here. I've been talking about these setups for a long time now. And yeah, I mean, it reacted to the exact same RSI level right here on the weekly. So the low is obviously in, but right now we're still waiting to break all-time highs. And this is still a normal Bitcoin cycle. I think Bitcoin dominance will start breaking down. And I think in this cycle, we will not do what we did in 2021. In 2021, when we had the altcoin season, Bitcoin dominance was just, Bitcoin was just going sideways. But in 2017, Bitcoin was actually going up and we still had the altcoin season. So I think this cycle is going to be just like that. Bitcoin is going to continue going higher and higher. And at some point, Ethereum will start outperforming it, which will lead to a big Bitcoin dominance drop, which will lead to a big altcoin season. And now we go back to the ADA chart. I think ADA is finally ready to go into the third wave of the third wave. But you have to keep in mind, before we do that, we still have to form a 5-wave move to the upside, which is going to be the first wave of the third wave of the third wave, then really the second wave move down, which, you know, I'm going to give you a support zone for it once we actually get the first wave up, and then we're going to start the third wave of the third wave of the third wave, and my targets for that, I mean, the target right now is the 1618 for the 1-2 setup here, and that's at $3.50, and I think Cardano is going to do just fine, and no matter what the haters have to say about it, I mean, it's still good, so it's still doing just what it did in the previous cycle. It's doing it a bit slower, but the setup is the exact same, and I'm waiting for a huge breakout, and honestly, I think the next couple of months are going to be extremely bullish. I think everybody that's watching this video right now is still very, very early, at least in my opinion. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates for only like $5 a month. Also, check out the third wave of the third wave merchandise. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.